Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Creative Cranium. We got a great show tonight. As some of you know, I am broadcasting tonight from the Philadelphia Comic-Con, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys and to hear a little bit more about your projects. So without further delay, let's jump right in. I think the easiest way to do this, most of us know each other, but let's go around the room and please introduce yourself and tell us what you are mostly known for. Greg, let's start with you.
I am writer, creator of a bunch of superhero comics and Mittens, and I think people like Mittens a little more than my superhero comics.
I like your book a lot, that Mittens book. Out there, I'm looking forward to asking you some questions. Can you tell us who you are and what you're mostly known for?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me. It's good to be here amongst all the greats, and I'm just a simple man trying to make his way in the universe. My name is Ryan. I'm the host and producer of And I Quote, which is a show we do every week on my YouTube channel known as And I Quote Channel. We basically just interview creators from all over the world. We talk about what they're passionate about. We try to promote them as best we can. And I host and produce another bunch of shows on the channel. So if you're nerdy like everyone else is here and you want to get your let your geek flag fly, check us out. We got a lot of great stuff coming your way. In fact, Phantom Menace, we're going to be doing a movie watch along for that tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So join us and celebrate. May the 4th be with you, because Star Wars is awesome, even though I'm wearing an X-Men shirt, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, excellent. And hey, I have to recommend to the other creators on the panel, Ryan runs a great show, and I definitely recommend it. He's a terrific interviewer. So Ralph, hey, it is great to finally meet you. I'm really looking forward to learning more about you. Can you tell us who you are and what you're mostly known for?
Okay, so I'm Ralph Madrigal. I am a first-time creator of a tradie in Justice and the Sword of Justice Knights. First time, I really am a sergeant with the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office in South Texas, where I've been there for 25 and a half years. But comics have been my life forever, and I've been trying to finally create this comic and this whole universe, and it's been amazing. I have an awesome team, so it's issue 2's out, so on Kickstarter, so it's go time.
Congratulations to you, man. I'm really looking forward to learning more about that.
Thank you.
Nandor, hey, it's great to finally meet you. You know, I've been looking to, I was a follower on one of your projects. I think it looks terrific. But for those of us that don't know, tell us who you are and what you're mostly known for.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi Tim. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here. I know we've been talking for a while on trying to get on here, and so it's like it's finally happening. And right before I came on, I was having trouble with my camera, and I was like, I can't let anything get in the way of trying to be on here. Too many things have stopped me. You know, I was like, goodness gracious, can I just get on this show? So. Anyways, my name's NANDOR FOX SHAFFER. I'm a comic book writer, creator. I've been making comics for about 7 years now. People may know me from my books such as Seasons, Lifeline, Manchild, and most recently, The Fabled Offering. So I'm so excited about storytelling, about making comics, and it's something that I started right out of high school. I wanted to write and make comic books, and so it's been definitely a journey. You know, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of doubts, a lot of successes, though at the same time. And so it's just one of those things where perseverance is key, and it's been really fulfilling. And I've met a lot of great people. So
nice. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more about that. You know, one of our topics for tonight, we face multiple challenges in the industry that we work. And the truth of us, all of us have a different challenge, right? Like some of us have daytime jobs, some of us have families, some of it's financial. So what I want to learn about is what was your greatest challenge and how did you overcome it for your creative project? Greg, I'm going to start with you. What do you feel is your greatest challenge in your new project?
Money.
That's everybody's, man. The Quan.
Show me the Quan.
Yeah.
As most of us, for the viewers at home, if they don't know, I think I speak for all of us, comic book writers, we tend to be millionaires. We're incredibly wealthy. So I guess my question to you, Greg, is how do you raise the funds to put this project together?
Work the corner sometimes.
I heard that.
No, I have a day job. I get up at like 5 in the morning, and then I go there and deliver uniforms to places, and then come home,
Nice.
cook dinner, and try to write. So
Yeah, well, you're to be commended for that. Look, I know it's not easy. I'm right there with you. And do I remember you're married too, right?
girlfriend.
Girlfriend. Okay. Hey, I'm not trying to rush you now.
My grandma keeps saying, "Oh, how's your wife doing?" I was like, I don't have a wife.
Well, and
When
as
when did this happen?
Tim said it on the air.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely one of the challenges, right? And I think not only financially, but family is one too. I want to jump over to Ryan, right? Ryan, I follow your podcast, and I think you do a great job interviewing your guests and stuff. But how did you get started? What was the biggest challenge in creating your network?
It's a funny story. So originally, and I quote channel, before it was called that, it was known as Nerd Culture Channel, and it was a group of friends of mine and I. We started late in college. I know I'm dating myself, but we started there some years ago, and they recruited me. They wanted me to be on the team, and they wanted me to do interviews, and because we were all in charge of different playlists in the beginning of our channel. And the greatest challenge we had in the beginning was, we already had a channel prior to us setting up Nerd Culture. We worked with another group of people, but unfortunately, those relationships went south and it didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to. So because of that, all our content that we had built up to that point was taken away from us and deleted. So we had to start all the way over from scratch. And my friends and I at Nerd Culture Channel, giving a shout out to you guys, we love you. We put our heads together, we put the channel back together, and we called ourselves Nerd Culture instead of what we were known before that. I know, so many iterations, it's crazy. It's like Star Wars having 3 different trilogies. It's weird. Star Wars Day is tomorrow, folks. Get with it. There's going to be a lot of references tonight. Yahoo! Anyway, so
well, look, I got a lot of respect for that. I will tell you
Yeah.
that when I started doing the podcast, I will tell you, like, well, this is going to be pretty easy, right? But what
No.
you quickly find is it's way more work than you thought. So, like, what are some things that happened maybe in the beginning that was more than you thought you could handle?
Just the fact that everyone else on the team at Nerd Culture, at least at the time, had more expertise in certain areas than I did, because I didn't know how to edit stuff. I only knew how to do live shows and make people smile and laugh when it's live, because I don't know how to edit. I'm sorry. I'm revealing my kryptonite here, folks. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert for something that's 36 years old. But yeah, I don't know how to edit. So I just went with it. I said, you know what? I'm going to do as many interviews as I can, but I'm going to do them live instead of doing, like, pre-recorded, cut them down, whatever. Because could I make the time to learn all that stuff and edit? Yeah, sure. But I enjoy interacting with millions of people, even though we don't get millions of people watching us. But hey, I'm an optimist, all right? A cockeyed optimist? I don't know, whatever. Call me crazy. You're crazy. I probably am. But I enjoy entertaining people live, so I just did my shows live, and it turned out to be a lot of fun. I mean, it was hard in the beginning because we didn't get really much of any interaction in the chat, but nowadays, with over 1,050 subscribers on And I Quote channel, we're booming. And in the words of the interwebs, life is good. So there you go. That's what I got. Brian, my good friend Brian's here. Brian, good to see you, man. Listen, if you're going to join us tomorrow for Phantom Menace, send me a text. All right, man. I want to get as many people on that show as possible. It's Star Wars Day, man.
I kind of wish I could jump over and see that, but I'm going to be, as you guys know, I'm at
You're in Philly, man. You got bigger fish to fry. You're hanging out with the Hollywood elite.
Yeah, I'm a nobody. I don't know why they have me there. It's my table mate is big shot David Daub. As you know, he's multiple published author, and he's just got screaming in left and right. I'm just riding his coattails, baby. First, Ralph, congratulations on your book, man. I think it looks terrific. And what are some of the challenges that you had to face in the beginning? Give us an idea of what kind of things were a challenge for you.
Oh, like everybody else here, because I've been a cop 25 and a half years. And
thank you for your service.
Yeah. I've done everything, narcotics, SWAT, And so finally, we went through some challenges in our family last year that really made me do this. I've been wanting to do this for 38 and a half years, guys. So I finally had these problems, and I got the courage, and I meet all these awesome people. Tony Cottrell from MADRIGAL Comics, Nick Garber, Rodney Lockett finally introduced me to Joseph DeSantos, man. That guy is awesome. He's an awesome illustrator. He then turned me to Aaron Dowen, and it's just been since August of last year. Yeah.
I love that guy, as you know, and he's done a little bit of work for us. So can I ask you, what does Aaron do on your team?
So I'm the creator and writer, and he's a scripter and editor. So he kind of helps me with we're putting the pieces together. Remember, I'm new to this. I don't have any experience. Just what I've written for 38 years. all over journals and all kinds of notebooks, and he helped me put it together. So originally I just wanted to do a one comic book and that's it. Say I created my own comic, but Joseph was like, let's put it on Kickstarter. Well, I'm like, what the hell's Kickstarter, man? I'm from South Texas, man. We're behind over here, guys. We are behind. Yeah, no, like LAPD had laptops on their computers in 1980s. We got it like about 10 years ago. So it was, so he inspired me, man, and Aaron's like, come on, let's do it. The Kickstarter, and I pushed it, and I pushed this for months with everybody I know in everywhere, anybody I know. And when we opened the campaign, we got funded in 2 days.
Nice.
So
congratulations.
Yeah, so that was last year. So it went well. So
well, hey man, look, Ralph, I've got to congratulate you because you did the hardest part, which is you completed the project and released it. You know, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but Ryan knows this. It's something like 90% of creators never release the product.
I am lucky. I am blessed. You know, I am blessed. And hey, Ryan, I can tell you do podcasts, man, because you speak. You have that mojo when you talk, man. I like that a lot.
Yeah, he's one of the best.
Well,
he's one of the best. You got to get on his show.
Yeah, all three of you should. Timothy's been on my show before, but by the way, just to clarify something here for you, man, the force is strong in my family.
They call me La Bocina. La Bocina means the speaker because I usually I speak in front of a lot of people and I love to talk, but you take it to the next level, bro. I love that.
Well, this is what happens when you watch 6 billion movies and 7,000 television shows a year. I just tend to remember things. It's weird.
So we released issue 2 last Tuesday night, and we got funded within 3 days. Thank God, man, and I'm very blessed, man. Aaron and Joseph are awesome, and I met other people now. Tim, I met other people. Greg, I've seen him a lot on Aaron's shows. I met Nandor, on the Facebook, man. I got his book, and Sierra Nova. I gotta catch up to your stuff, man. But I love the indie family, man. I really do, man. I met other people, Vince White from Powerverse and Willpower, and Joe Spicer from Starcross Comics.
Joe.
They're so helpful, man. And I want to learn and progress and get stronger, and hopefully for the next 10 years, 20 years of my life. I'm 50 years old, man. So that's
it sounds like you are off to the races, man. You're off to a great start here.
Chug-a-lug, baby.
Let's jump over to Nandor. I want to ask you the same question, right? I think your book looks terrific. I've been following it. What were some of the challenges that you faced in the beginning, and how did you overcome it?
So with the Fabled Offering specifically, it was my first time writing a science fiction, fantasy book, and kind of a genre mashup book, which I guess I've done some genre mashup before in my other stories, but not to this extent where the visuals really play such a key role in how the story is being presented. And you really need to, there's a fine balance between science fiction and fantasy that, is kind of difficult to find that equilibrium at times because, they almost feel far removed from each other and a big contrast. And so that creative challenge was really a focus for me in developing this world and developing the story, and how technology plays a role, and how that's more of futuristic or almost transcendent in terms of how it relates to the deities of this world, and how technology, how that relates to the people on this planet, and people who are kind of going through their world is just different. It's separate, and so trying to figure out that separation was a big challenge, because you're always trying to add something to your own story that hopefully no one else has done, or you can just do it a little bit differently, and you don't want things to be too derivative of other things. But I want people who enjoy things like Star Wars and enjoy things like Lord of the Rings, I want to kind of bring those two fan bases, people who wouldn't maybe normally, talk to each other or hang out with each other, or enjoy the same things, because they're somewhat separate. I mean, most people probably love both, but you have those hardcore fans that, they just read fantasy novels, or they just read sci-fi novels, or technical sci-fi, military sci-fi, you know, and so trying to bridge that gap and make it appealing for both audiences was a big goal for me, because I wanted to do something that could marry the two in a way that would be really satisfying and that wouldn't feel strange or too like, well, that just doesn't work, you know. So that was a big challenge for this book. And you know, I did a lot of world building, more than I'd ever done with any of my other projects. And so trying to place the character in a world that felt lived in but also alien was really fascinating to do, and was like a real rewarding experience for me to work through that.
Excellent. I want to take that question just a little deeper. You know, they say that the two hardest categories in crowdfunding, I've been told, are all ages books tend to struggle, and science fiction. So I want to ask you, you have a noticeable sci-fi slant. And by the way, I say this with love, you know, I'm the other sci-fi guy. But what I want to know, why did you choose it?
I chose it because I adore it. And something that, you know, that might be kind of a anticlimactic answer, but I, all my other stories, they've been either kind of supernatural, superhero, or just kind of a basic drama. And so I realized a business plan of mine was to have, you know, a lot of versatility in my work, and I want to show I want to diversify. I want to show people that I'm not just that writer, that seasons guy, or that man-child guy. Like I can do it all, or I can do whatever I set out to do. And I thought, you know, what's so interesting, I kind of chose maybe one of the most challenging genres to try to do a story that's a one and done, a one shot, you know, and trying to introduce a world while also telling a complete story at the same time. That could be another challenge, but like trying to do that with science fiction and fantasy, you know, you don't want to make the reader jump in and then leave so quickly. And that was like something that I tried to balance with this story. And, you know, even though it is a one shot, and it tells a complete emotional arc for this character, I've always kind of thought, if people enjoy it enough, if they want more of it, if they want more of this world, here we go. You know, we could do that.
I got a question there, Gary Hodges. This is a great point, and he brought up Lawrence Kasdan too, which we ought to listen to a name like that. Almost any story can be told as a Western. I think that's pretty true of sci-fi. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I think like, again, it kind of depends on maybe the subgenre of sci-fi that you're working with, and the like an ensemble or not, or you know, how many does it span generations? You know, like what kind of sci-fi story are you telling? But I think when it comes down to maybe the bolts and nuts of the structure, I could definitely see the Western aspect there.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that too. So let's diversify this question a little bit. I'm going to start with Greg. First of all, Greg, you guys got a pretty diverse product line over there, because you've got a little bit of everything, right? You do have all ages, you got horror, you got some sci-fi. It's tough to reach these audiences. What do you think is the most difficult thing for Sierra Nova in finding their audience? Or are you still figuring it out?
I guess, yeah. Well, we just started conventions last year, so that's starting to help do something, get an audience, because our audience in the beginning was just other creators.
Right.
And I would like, you know, not just that. But yeah, actually what he said was the reason I did Mittens originally was because I just didn't want to be the superhero guy. So that's 100% why I did Mittens. And then I was like, oh, this is like a really cool story, so I'm just going to go all in on that. So yeah, we do horror and superheroes and sci-fi, and
you guys got a good lineup.
Yeah, so well, I think so.
Diverse.
Little Baskin Robbins over there for you, buddy. 31 flavors for everybody, huh?
Yeah. And man, I tell you, that's a gutsy group over there, because you know this title Mittens, which is one of my favorites. You got both feet in the deepest water, which is sci-fi and all ages.
Yeah. And
It's brave, man.
the
It's brave.
first
My hat's
issue
off to you.
did very, 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 very well. Well, I think it did very well.
Was that your best campaign?
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
It
So you're
didn't
kind
hit
of
like 100,000 or anything, but I don't care about that.
You're right. Well, and as I'm fond of saying, I'm not sure that money is always the best indicator of the best project. That's just my opinion.
Right, yeah.
So, Ryan, I want to ask you the question, but I want to phrase it in the way of the podcasting, right? Because there's lots of ways to develop an audience. You know, you have a lot of different programs going on. There's an audio, there's a video. How do you develop your audience for your podcast? And I'm mostly asking this because I'm going to copy whatever you say.
Right.
He's got his legal pad in front of him with a giant pen. By the way, Deja Marie is a good friend of mine. Good to see you, Deja Marie. I love you. So to answer the question, wow. So when we started, we knew we wanted to target, I would say our target demographic. Sorry to get all marketing on you guys, but it's the truth.
I want to know. Totally. I want to know.
Well, when we started, we wanted to hit as many of the young people as we could. So we were thinking 18 to 35 was our demographic, which to a degree, I'm still thinking that now. But now that I'm getting more and more people from different age groups tuning into the show and they're enjoying what they're seeing, I mean, hey, if they don't like this ugly mug, at least they're enjoying the content that we're giving them. You don't have to enjoy this ugly face, but that's fine too. I think it's been very unique seeing how our audience has grown and how many more people are tuning in and enjoying it, because I'm getting people from all generations coming in and saying, hey, this is the best podcast I've ever been on, or this is the best, most amount of fun I've had on a show in a very long time, whatever. And I'm just thinking, man, if I'm doing this right, then that means I got to keep doing this until the day I die. Because if you get a taste of this and you have fun with it, why do you want to stop doing it after only one day? You can't. So, yeah, it was interesting to start in 1835. Now I'm feeling my target demographic is like 18 to 65 because so many
I'm
people.
right there with you.
And some of your audience.
So many people are like watching this stuff and they're tuning in and they're telling me like, hey, I remember this movie, or, oh, I never heard of that movie. Why didn't I think of this? Like, what? And I'm thinking, hey, man, like, I bring these movies to the table because these are the movies I watched as a kid, and they're turning a certain age depending on what year it is, of course, because every year is different.
And that's kind of a thing. I'll give them a quick shout out. You know, my pals over at Bad Bug Media, they now do that on Wednesday nights. It's like a movie watch along, and, you know, you can jump in and comment. I usually make comments about the score. You guys know my music.
Oh, yeah.
I love musical scores.
Yeah, they're fun.
But yeah, there's a lot of challenges in developing the audience, right? So I'm going to switch this around and ask Ralph this question, because again, you know, you have the same thing, right? Like, how do you find your audience? What do you feel is the biggest challenge to finding the audience?
Well, somebody told me when I first started meeting people from the indie universe is that superheroes were dead, and I couldn't believe that. I'm like, I think every single person on the planet. Every one of you guys at one time wanted to be a superhero, Superman or Batman or Captain Britain, or I you know, and I wanted, and since I'm a cop, I kept this guy really family, faith, and justice based because I'm real, you know, that's who I am. And Joseph DeSantos tells me that it's kind of autobiographical. That's such a hard word to say, man. That's why I'm a cop. That's why I'm a cop. Anyway, so and I'm gonna stick to my guns, man. This guy Tradian, which was you know, he had different names in the last 20 years, 30 years, but he's me, you know, he's everything we want to be in life. So I put all my heart and soul to it. You know, I have so many different versions of him and so many different powers, and superheroes can't be dead. You know what I'm saying? Superheroes cannot be dead. You know, so I have other ideas that I'm working on that they're gonna stem from this comic book. You know, fantasy world is we all want to be knights and werewolves and all that. So I'm doing one called Razor Wolf, who's a kind of a mix. You know, so they're the ideas that I have there. You know, it's just about the quan. You know, the money.
Yeah. And we're going to circle back around to the money question. So hold that thought.
Right.
So, Nandor, same thing for you. You know, you have a pretty, a very artistic approach to some of your writing, right? And I mean that in a complimentary way. Like sometimes these projects, the more artistic they are, sometimes the worse they perform. And, I guess so I'm going to ask you that question. What do you feel? Now, this is strictly for the audience building and finding backers. How do you approach finding backers and building your audience?
So, when I first started making comics, I was with Seasons in particular. This was in 2016. I was putting out my book for free for people to read online at my website, and I would put out a couple pages a week. And I started to notice, people were coming back for more, and they were, enjoying it. And I realized, the more people that were enjoying my work, I mean, it was very validating, but it was also showing me that, maybe I'm, pretty good at this and I could keep going with this. And eventually when I got to really bringing my stuff to the forefront and sharing it out and bringing it to people and doing my first Kickstarter campaign, I realized that there was this, community of indie creators that were also trying to make their own stuff. And that was really encouraging. And, because you found like-minded people that were making things. But the crowdfunding community was so different than what it is now. I mean, it's grown tremendously in the last, 10 years, 8 to 10 years. And so I felt really kind of out on my own for a while there. And then the more, but I knew I wanted to make comics. And so the more that I put out and the more that I was getting the reception that I was getting, I've accumulated over the years, a loyal fan base of people that are waiting for my next book and that want my next book. And so when you have that core group of people that have believed in you from the very beginning, it's very, humbling and really special to me. But that's only, with each book and everything that you do from then on, that's an opportunity for you to grow more. And I think a lot of people, they, will succeed and they'll be happy with that success. And they'll think that, well, those people will just come back for the next book without really putting in the effort or the intention to grow more, and talking to other people and going to other comic book stores, going to other conventions, widening the reach. And so that's something that I've been striving to do for the last few years. Is like, okay, who haven't I talked to? It's like, who don't I know? Like the people that I do know, who are they talking to? And, what can I learn from them and how they do that? So it's kind of a threefold process of like people that you meet in the indie community on social media, and then also comic book stores, and then the people that you meet at conventions, and trying to master those, all three of those, or get good at all three of those. That's where you're going to find your audience. And that's something that's taken years for me to really learn and figure out how to do that well.
That's a good answer. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So next I want to talk a little bit about production teams, because I get the sense that most of us work with a team of people, or, I guess that's what I'm going to find out. So I know, Greg, you got multiple artists, inkers, letterers, right? That kind of thing. What are some of the challenges that you had in building your team, and how did you fix it?
So in the very beginning,
one quick disclosure: we're not necessarily going to bash anybody here. Right. I mean, it may be however you're comfortable describing it, but it's not. This inker sucks. Please don't go down that road.
So when we first started, all right, Dylan.
Producer walking in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, there are two producers that just walked through the door. Hello, producers. Good to see you too.
Welcome back, Dylan.
So when we first started, I didn't really have money to make a comic, so I was like, I'm going to try to get this done for free, which don't do that.
Yeah. Pro tip: don't do that.
Show me the magic.
So I had a artist in like North Carolina, but she was like a history teacher, and she like never had time. She was going to be the artist for ink. That fell through very quickly. She's like, I just don't have time to do it. Plus, I'm not getting paid. I was like, okay, I get that. So I moved on, and then I found Adam Fields, and I was like, hey, there's a start.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. for Seer Chronicles, our flagship title, I went through a few different artists. First, it was a skateboard artist. He does more like work, like art for skateboards and stuff. And he does not know how to do sequential art, so that failed. Also, my first script was more of a storyboard, so I failed there. And then Dylan's like, "This is a storyboard. If this was a movie, this would make sense." I was like, "Oh, all right." So then I found another artist that was from Brazil. He added a bunch of stuff that I didn't want in my story. So that's the first version of Seer Chronicles, the first issue. And then I had it remastered with this other guy that's on our platform. That's good, and it's a longer story like how I wanted it to be. But yeah, now I have my friend Hector doing it, and it's just, trial and error.
How many people on the Seer Nova team between all these books?
So I basically have the same letter for almost everything except for Mittens, and that's Jerome with Ornicone.
Oh, Gagnon.
What?
Jerome Gagnon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah. So he's my letterer basically for everything besides Mittens. J.R. Harris does like almost everything for Mittens. He's awesome. And then there's Lucky 33 Comics. There's some people there that help with the coloring and everything for Mittens. Then I have the same colorist for everything else, February. He's from Indonesia, and he's amazing. And nobody else steal him, because he has so much work. Like on top of my stuff, there's just like, oh my god. But yeah, when I found him, he was like just starting, and then I was like, you realize like you could charge way more, but don't.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that's the way of it. That's the way of it. Like, I will point out that, I've learned it mostly by doing everything wrong the first time, but that's usually the way that I learn. So I'm kind of okay with that, including, but not limited to, trying to develop podcasts and video content and editing and adding audio and all these things that truthfully I didn't know how to do at the beginning. So that's where this question is headed for Ryan. First thing, Ryan, who helps you with your broadcasts and what do they do?
Well, okay, funny story. So back in the beginning, Caroline, you're awesome. She was helping putting together my thumbnails and descriptions and everything else for the videos I was doing with my interviews, because I knew how to conduct interviews. I just didn't know how to put together the thumbnails and some of the graphics and all that stuff. But then this little magical thing called Canva came along, and I started using Canva, and I went to town with that sucker.
Wait, hold on. Let's get a little bit more specific.
Yeah,
you're using it for like bumpers, or what were you?
No,
using?
I was at the time I was using Canva to design my thumbnails, my flyers. Put together a marketing. Heck, I even designed my business card on that thing.
Yeah.
Which I still do to this day. Canva has been very, very good to me. So use Canva, fellas. Use it a lot, because Canva is going to be your new best friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the beginning it was Caroline, but now since I know how to use Canva and do it all myself, I was putting together my thumbnails myself and flyers and all that stuff. I still do the flyers today, but I have a very good friend of mine who lives overseas in the Netherlands, also known as the Dutch Star Wars guy, Case. He puts together the background that you see before you, my virtual background. That new logo for Antico Channel was put together by him. And all the new thumbnails you see and some of the backgrounds we use in our shows, those are all designed by Case. Now, granted, this link tree here was designed by yours truly. Okay, I mean, I'm a Jedi. I'm not completely helpless. But this link tree is very easy to do. You go to Linktree, you choose a template, you fool around with it, play with the colors, play with the looks of it and all, and then you put together however many links you want to put in there. So this is my link tree. It's got everything you need there. You guys can contact me there. It's got the links to the channel, the links to the And I Quote channel, the audio feed for And I Quote, if you want to be a guest on the show in the future, which I think 3 of the 4 people sitting here want to be guests. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah. Sign up on that link. Do it to it, Lars. And you're going to like the way you look after signing up to be on our channel. I guarantee it.
Oh
So
man.
It's a good show, man. I definitely recommend it. As you guys know,
Do
we've
it.
been attending conventions together.
Do it.
We talk about this all the time. I'll just touch on it briefly, which
Go
is
ahead.
one of the great things we're able to do together, just even the people in this room,
Mhm.
is the power of networking, right?
Yes.
And I don't want to overemphasize it.
Love
The
networking.
truth is, yeah, a little
So
bit
much
goes a
fun.
long way, and
Mhm.
got to
Yeah.
recommend it in the strongest possible terms.
Huge.
So, Ralph, how about you? First, before we go to the question, how many people on your team?
3. Aaron,
Okay.
Joseph, and now Van Claridge, our letter. Yeah. So for me, it was remember new, SWAT guy, broke doors down. I can set up an operational plan and take down some of the biggest cartel guys, but this scripting is totally different, right? So I got journals everywhere, but to put it together was where Aaron came in. Aaron's awesome with that. Aaron is and he's a guy of faith, man. I like that about him, man. He's kind of like me, but I'm still a little rebellious sometimes. And then you got Joseph DeSantos, who is hardcore off, freaking Joseph. His art is awesome. And they introduced me to Van Claridge, who came in as our new letterer, and we're actually gonna re-letter issue 1 again, to keep the lettering the same as issue 2, because his lettering is awesome. So for me, it's different. It's a lot different than 25 years of arresting people and doing things like that to scripting. You know what I'm saying? And so to learn how to script it and panel it and all these pages and.
Wait a second, Ralph. Did you arrest your team to make them work with you?
Joseph for sure. Joseph for
Like
sure.
you have all the dirt on them, and you're like, okay, you have to make this comic with
what
me.
you gonna do?
Van put up a fight.
When they
Van
come
put up a
for
fight,
you.
but Aaron went easily.
Yeah.
Aaron's cool is awesome. So for me, it's learning, man, and listening to everybody. I've seen Greg a few times. Timothy, I've seen you with Aaron in the past.
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out. Aaron's also, he didn't mention his graphic design work. That's what he does for us.
That's he created my new logo. So Joseph did the first logo, and I feel like I needed to bump it up, man. And Aaron did a great job, man. He made it look real patriotic.
If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you guys can see the cryptid logo that he did for us, and we're very satisfied with it.
Oh, that's
awesome.
nice.
I love that way.
Yeah.
That's eye-catching, man.
Yeah, we use it. It's the main thing I use it for at cons is
your business card has it written all over.
I have it on my business card, and it's also I hand out stickers. Hey, do you like stickers? And everybody likes stickers. They come
Who
right.
doesn't like stickers?
Yeah. So for 20 cents or whatever, you got a little bait to lure
stickers.
It's worth it.
Put them on your water bottle.
Exactly,
people do it all the time.
So it sounds like we got some.
conventions.
It sounds like we got some quality teams here. Nandor, I don't know too much about your team. How many people are on your team?
Well, for the Fabled Offering, it's just 2 other people. So it's myself and then Marco Roblin. He does all the art. He does the inks and the colors and everything. And my letterer is a DC Hopkins, and he worked with me on Manchild. He's worked with so many publishers. He's one of my favorite people that I've been able to work with. But both Marco and DC, I mean, they're bringing their A game to this book, and I've been able to work with a lot of different artists over the period of time with all my different books, and I can say that Marco, in particular, is the most enthusiastic and the most passionate artist that I've worked with. And
can you give us a little? Could you give us a little, for instance, and expand on that a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure. So, for instance, he will not only encourage me in my own writing, but he during the process of making the book, he was coming up with ideas for other books, while we were making this one, and he was becoming a creative partner in the process in a way that I didn't even ask him to. He was wanting to, because he loved the script so much and he loved the story so much, and he was like, what if this scene here, what if we expand that a little bit, or what if we make this happen here? And he would call me and he would send me voice messages and he would talk to me about ideas. He was getting so invested in the story, and not that my other artists don't do that, but I could tell that it was something he was really thinking about all the time, and that he was trying to put his best foot forward and making the art the best, and so
That sounds like a great partner.
yeah, and he, I mean, he tells me, he's like when we were done with the book, he was so sad. He was so sad it was over, that we were done working together. And he was like, look, I really want to work with you again. I really want to make more comics with you. And that was just like so amazing to me, because I realized that not only had I found someone whose work I'd really think is amazing and that I admire, but someone that I could work with again over and over. And I feel like we could make some great comics. And we're already working on another project for an anthology together. And so, I was like, okay, this is someone I'm going to be working with for the foreseeable future for sure.
It sounds great. And you mentioned a very valuable trait, which I would just want to do a quick shout out, which, when you have loyalty with a teammate, it's such a great feeling. And, I've been very blessed to work with some wonderful artists and inkers and letterers and podcasters and all these great folks. And, you're right. It's a little bit like when the book's done and you cross that finish line, it's a feeling of victory. But there's a little bit of ennui, a little bit of sadness, right? It's like, well, everything just stopped. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet for sure.
So, if it was up to me, I would just keep everybody on page details and keep churning the money out. But as we know, there are real world.
We're all rich, right?
Big shot comic book writers, how that.
Well, and I mean, it's a reason why you see why certain teams in comics work so well together. You have those runs or those series of those creators that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna pick up the next Brubaker and Phillips book because these guys have been working together for so long that how could I not? They probably speak their own language and they have their own shorthand and all that stuff, and that's something that you really I value that so much, because when I go to another project and I'm starting to work with someone else, I don't have that anymore. I have to build that relationship up again, and it can be, and sometimes it doesn't work out as well, or maybe they're just not as personable as you would hope, or whatever. It could
maybe
be
a language barrier.
Yeah, language barrier. Maybe they're working on like 5 different things and they just don't have the time, and they just want to do their due diligence and do the work and hit the deadline and all that. That's fine. Like, that makes total sense. But when you find someone who is so invested in your story, almost you feel like as much as you are, that's rare, because you're basically acting as an employer to an employee. And when that employee is being like going above and beyond to make, something really special with you, that's not guaranteed. So getting that is just a plus, and it really helps make everything about the project that much more exciting, because they're excited about it, and that makes you excited because you're not the only one that's out there shouting it out because you have to. You actually can get behind it and go, hey, this is going to be something that we both can really enjoy together and celebrate together, rather than, oh yeah, thanks for working with me on that.
It's a little bit of a cliche, but with a good team, you can make something more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. Yes.
And for me, real quick, is I feel like I was cheating on them, like because Aaron and Joe, they have so many other projects, right? Those guys work with other people that I started meeting other people, and I kind of feel like I told Aaron and I told both of them, man, I'm sorry, but I feel like I'm cheating on you guys. We're so close already,
I know. I know that feeling.
And Joseph's like, no, man. Joseph's like, no, man. That's what I want you to do. I want you to go out there and meet people and talk to people.
Yeah.
But I felt awkward at first. Like I shouldn't be talking to anybody else, guys.
That's a great answer. So thanks for sharing that. Hey, as we get into the last third of the show here, I'd like to talk about what you guys are making. And really what I like to hear is who will love this project. We're going to start with Greg. That's Ink 1 to 3, The Harvest. I've been following a couple of these projects. I'm a Sierra Nova fan, and I probably should mention you guys run a pretty nice virtual con once a year.
We do.
It's probably the best virtual con. I love to be part of that. But tell us a little bit, Greg, who is going to love Ink?
Travis Gibb. And that's it. No. Anybody that likes superheroes, it's pretty like supernatural, and If you want to see like a bunch of people in a cult get beat up, then you can, read that.
Well, I think everybody likes that.
Yeah.
It's like that Simpsons line. Well, everybody can enjoy that. Yeah, these guys have a history of putting out quality products. They fulfill the projects on time, back with confidence. Let's go over and give that a little call to action. Inc. 1 to 3, The Harvest. That's in pre-launch right now. So if you see that right now, you can go over there and be notified on launch. Highly recommended. I hope you guys will check that out. So let's jump over to Ralph, right? Atradian Justice. I'm just learning about it, and I'm very impressed with everything I've learned about Ralph and his work. Ralph, tell us a little bit about your target customer and who will love Atradian Justice.
Superhero-based, faith, family, justice, betrayal, a lot of action. Anybody that any age, this is going to be. It's a thriller. Issue 2 is the fall. So when your faith is challenged in different ways, we sometimes fall. So it should be a 5-issue series, and they build up to the end, which is not the end, because I have some other plans for the 6 through 10.
End of the arc.
If I get to that, but yeah, I have faith, family, superhero-based justice. It's funny, it's action-packed, it's a great story, it's a great ride.
I wish you every success with this, Ralph. I think it looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell you what, let's jump over to Ryan, right? We're talking about podcasting, which what a weird thing to want to do. What kind of guy wants to run a podcast? So let me ask you, who do you think is the target audience for And I Quote, and who would love to hear this podcast?
My goodness, that's a $2 billion question that we don't have time to answer, but I'm going to answer it anyway. I'll tell you what. So listen, if you are into any sort of fandom, it doesn't matter if it's sci-fi, if it's fantasy, if it's Lord of the Rings, if it's Star Wars, if it's Marvel, DC, what do you call it? IDC, Valiant, Boom, whatever. Like whatever you're into, it doesn't matter. Whether it's a comic book, non-comic book property, doesn't matter. If you're into that sort of stuff, you want to let your fandom flag fly high, join us on And I Quote channel. We talk about all sorts of fandoms with all sorts of creators. If you're between the ages of, honestly, like 10 and 105, tune in and join us, because we keep our content, for the most part, we do. This is a true story. We do our best to keep our content family friendly, because you never know who's listening. Big brother may be watching us. Ooh,
I get it.
But you got kids out there, they're going to be watching this. It's like, okay, let's keep this family friendly. Let's have fun with it, but let's try to keep it family friendly here, folks. Hey, we're not going to Disneyfy it completely, but I got to give it a little bit of an edge there, son. But that's what we do. We do movie watch along. We do And I Quote. We have a show called The Meaning of Fandom, where we gather a group of people together and they share with us what a certain fandom means to them and why.
That's the one I like. And also, you kind of gloss over, but you work with the cosplayers too, which is how I've met some.
Yeah. That's another community I want to extend my hand out to and say, hey, let's collaborate more these days, because cosplay is fun. It's phenomenal. The people that put together their own costumes, mind blown. I buy mine from the store down the street. I'm not that good at showing and stuff, so I got to go on Amazon and buy stuff there. But listen. Doesn't matter. Cosplayers are cosplayers or cosplayers, okay? I don't care what level of experience you have or don't have. I got 5 outfits in this man cave of a closet that I never made. I bought them from other retailers and other places, okay, folks? It's okay to buy. But yeah, we basically just nerd out, we geek out, and have a lot of fun, and we've been doing it for 4 years. I've been hosting the show hosting the channel by myself for the last 2 years or so. And it's been great, but I have people helping me behind the scenes, such as Case. I also got my friend Cade of Card2 Commotion that gives me a wise sage of advice every once in a while. So I want to give a shout out to those folks. And I do want to say, without the people I've been working with over the years and all the guests that have come on the channel and been on the shows, I could not be where I am now. So my hat is off to everybody.
Hey man, we're grateful,
studio,
brother.
Including you, Tim. You've been in our studio too. I mean,
you gave me a shot, man, when I was a new guy, and I'm a firm believer in the podcasting community.
Rising tide lifts all ships, man.
Yeah, well said.
It's a fact. So yeah, if anyone's interested and wanting to watch our content, go ahead and watch it and subscribe to the channel, because our next goal is 5K. All right, we hit 1,000. That's good. That's very, very good. But we want to hit 5, baby. We want to hit 5.
5Gs.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. So I'm going to give Nandor the last word here, man. This series looks terrific. This is the Fabled Offering. Tell us a little bit about who is going to love this project.
Well, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but this is a book for fans of comic book series such as like Seven to Eternity or Birthright. It's
wow.
also for people who love Star Wars or Lord of the Rings. Also people who maybe do some D&D role playing, that kind of thing. But really, it's a character driven story. So if you like character driven stories about characters who are struggling with their own trauma and trying to overcome their own past and trying to basically make the most of what they've been handed in this world and in this life. This is that kind of story where Princess Aurelia is really having to make some impossible decisions on her quest to meet this ancient deity. And the reason that she's on this journey and the reason why she is meeting this deity, you'll find in the book. But it really ends up being a mature tale about finding your own fate and your own destiny, and learning about yourself and how to navigate this world that you live in. And so I really try to make all my characters and all my stories really relatable, and I try to make them have enough three-dimensionality that you can really get behind them, that you can cry with them, that you can cheer with them, and that you can hopefully come on the other side of them with them and see just how they've changed. So all my stories are about change and the power of it, and this book is no less than that. And so if you've read any of my previous work, or if you're interested in what I can do and what kind of storyteller I am, the Fabled Offering is for you, because it's a one and done complete story. Like I said, it tells an emotional arc for this character. There's definitely more we could do in this world, but if you want a story where you can see a beginning, middle, and end for this character's journey and what she's going through at this particular time in her life, this is for you.
Perfect. I think it looks great, Nandor,
Yeah.
and that's something that this is probably a topic for another show. But I sense you and I have some similarities. I'd love to go into more depth there. But let's go to a quick call to action. This one's on Indiegogo, yeah?
Yeah, so this is my second chance campaign. I've already funded the book on Kickstarter, so there's no worry there. We're lettering the book right now, and I thought while we're lettering it and while fulfillment is about to start, we should go ahead and put it on Indiegogo and maybe find some backers there. And so I'm also trying to unlock some stretch goals. There are some stretch goals that we did not make for the Kickstarter, so I'm hoping that if we can reach some of those on this campaign. What's so great about that is that Kickstarter backers and Indiegogo backers will get in on these stretch goals. So, if you were a backer on Kickstarter and you want to back it again on Indiegogo and get a different cover, or if you'll get a welcome surprise because I've put it on Indiegogo, that you'll get some stretch goal rewards that you would have not gotten before. So,
Nice.
yes.
Perfect.
Cool.
Perfect. Well, man, I wish you every success with this campaign, and I wish success to all the guests. Before we say goodbye to the viewers, let's go around the room one more time and tell us where we can find you. Let's start with Greg.
SierraNovaComics.com. The website is actually fixed now, so it's like faster, so it actually loads. So you can go there. Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Pinterest, wherever.
Grinder.
MySpace.
No, not that.
Cool, man. Yeah, Sierra Nova, that's one to follow. They got tons of quality products, highly recommended. Ryan, same question for you, buddy. Where can we find you?
Boy, that's a really hard question. I don't really know how to use the interwebs, and I don't have a website like these fine gentlemen do, but I have something called a link tree. I think that's a thing. Anyway, listen, I do want to say thank you to Greg. He took the initiative and signed up to be on And I Quote in the future. So congratulations, Greg. You're going to have a great time with us in the studio for sure. The rest of you who are on this panel, do it already. But listen, if you want to...
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, though, gentlemen. If you don't feel comfortable being in the midst of greatness, it's fine. I can take a hint. But listen, this has been fun. This has been great. This has been an honor and a privilege, and I'm grateful to have shared this space with you fine gentlemen. So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan RPM5 personally. You can follow us on all forms of social media, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, at And I Quote channel. Follow us there. We stream all our content live. We like the interaction with the people. We're doing a show tomorrow with Martheus Wade at 12 p.m. Eastern time on And I
He's a
Quote.
cool guy. I love that guy.
Don't ruin it for me. I haven't met him yet. Don't ruin it for me.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it for me, man. It's tomorrow morning. And then that night, we're going to be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, for May the 4th be with you, also known as Star Wars Day here in this world that we live in, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So join us there. And then on Sunday, May the 5th, I'm going to be with this gentleman known as Timothy B. Fling at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for Fan Expo Philadelphia. My friends and I are going to be there in tow.
Boy.
Man. Watch out. I'm going to be with my entourage, so you better watch out. And we're going to invade the Philadelphia Convention Center. We're going to electrify the people like the final boss did at WrestleMania. And we're going to meet some of the biggest stars in Hollywood. And we're going to hang out with Timothy and all the great independent writers and artists that are going to be there. And we're going to network, too. So find me.
Cool kids,
say
all
hello
the cool
to me.
kids are there, man.
I'll have business cards with me. I'm going to be passing them out. If you want to be on the show, you want to know more about what I do or Timothy does, let us know. I'll be more than happy to hook you up with some swag.
Excellent.
And listen, this was fun. Thanks for having me, man. And in case
You're
I don't
always
see
welcome,
you,
Ryan. Yeah.
good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Phenomena, may the force be with you.
Thanks, man. Let's jump over to Ralph. Ralph, tell the viewers where we can find you. We want to find your material.
Fearless Comic Studios, a Trading Justice on Facebook, Instagram, X, on Indiegogo. And we need to do a show about bass players, buddy. We haven't talked about music.
Count me in.
Count about rock. Top 10 bass players.
You got it. You got it. Oh, hey, we did that one. We got to pick something else.
Oh, man, no.
Well, we could revisit it. We could
Top 10 favorite songs to play on Guitar Hero.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's
That'll rock.
I would, hey, man. Listen, if it's music, you can. I will talk your ear off. So
White Snake, baby.
There you go. Let's jump over to Nandor. We're just about to our time, but please tell us where we can find your work.
Of course. So I encourage everyone to please subscribe to my newsletter. It's foxholecomics.substack.com. You can find me there. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Foxhole Comics. That's my imprint where I print all my books under. And you can also find me on Twitter at NANDOR FOX, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I also do have a link tree as well, Ryan. So I believe in Linktree. So if you are like, I don't know where to find all this stuff, I have that link tree on all my profiles, so you can do it all there. I'm also, while we're funding the Fabled Offering on Indiegogo right now, I also have a few other projects coming up. I have Manchild issue 3, which will be launching later this year, and then I also am working on Seasons Volume 3, so that's something that's going to be coming up as well.
Is that guy?
Yes, that's Manchild. Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Nice.
If you guys want to go over and follow that, there's the link for
It's like a combination of a Batman and not Superman, Batman and Spider-Man.
The Riddler.
Yeah. A little bit like Shocker meets Mysterio.
Yeah.
A little bit, a little bit of Spider-Man vibes. Anyone grow up in the 90s like myself?
It's a callback to 60s 70s era of comics, but it has
Nice.
kind of a modern day kind of meta commentary on fandom and kind of the joys and pitfalls of being a comic book fan and what that's like. So as you can, Manchild's kind of self-explanatory, but there's a beauty in it, but I think there's also some questions about what that means. So it's a really great story. It's something that I wrote after Stan Lee passed. I wanted to do something in his honor, and so
Pretty cool.
issues 1 and 2 are done. They've been funded. We got those out, in issue 3. I'm really excited because we're introducing 6 new villains in the story, and I'm so excited to share those with everyone.
Well, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. So, well done, man. Seriously, this guy, all 4 of you are killing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, in the
panel
words of
tonight, good
Futurama, just shut up and take all my money. Even though I'm going to be spending a lot of it this weekend in Philadelphia. Sorry, Tim, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I get it. Hey, since I saw him in the comments, I got my pal Sean Barber. He's a great guy. He's got a new project out right now too. That's I Drive for Cerber, creepy creepypasta murdery mystery comic. I got the first one. It's really cool. If you dig cryptids and weird comics, I got to recommend this one. I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. He's a cool dude. So
Nice.
I'd like to thank my guests for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge. And if you guys are interested in seeing me and my partner, David Daub, we're going to be at table P08 at the Philadelphia Fan Expo. And we got even some cool swag, including but not limited to a chrome-plated trading card for free to visitors at our booth. So I hope to see you guys there. Other than that, thanks viewers for sharing their comments. We'll see you next Friday night at 10 o'clock. This is an episode of The Creative Cranium. See you next week.